What's going on, y'all? This is your man, Sabir, Alim. Welcome to another episode of Side Spot Live. Yeah, and live, you know I always am. We're going to continue on that list of 10 tips for emotional healing. 10 tips, right? We are now on number 6. We are almost there. Yeah. Today, flip the anxiety switch off. Yeah, what is the anxiety switch, man, that it's referencing here? We need to switch it off? I didn't even know the anxiety switch was on. Did you? We're going to find out more about that today. Stay tuned. Go get your cup of coffee, warm it up. Go heat up that breakfast. Get your plate in front of you, your little fuzzy slippers, that flannel pajama set, the onesie, yeah, whatever, man. Get it. We're about to get it in. I'll see you in a minute. Side Spot Live. Hey, listen. So, the beat you're listening to in the background right now is the beat to my soon-to-be released single, right? You know, I just dropped the album, right? The beginning of February. So I was listening to some of my music, the older stuff back to 2021, 2022. And, I was on a different vibe then. I'm still trying to find exactly where my niche is. And, hey, what's going on? Chris? Chris, what's this? Chris Sherman. Good morning. Thanks for tuning in. So I was listening to some of this stuff, right? And I said, it's a few of those things I'm going to do a remake of as well. But this one, this song Before, I'm gonna let you hear it at some point during the show today, and want you to hear the remake. So I'll do the remake. I'll do a portion of it live today before the show ends, but I want you to hear the original from back in 2022 when I released my first album, Poetic Peace, Volume 1. But this beat here, I've been like really riding on this beat. I did like 4 beats over the past few days, and this one is the one that kind of like jumped out at me to do before, right? Yeah, it's just like riding a bike. You just kind of and just roll with it. Yeah. So I'm hoping that my folks from TikTok slid over today, because as of March 1st, actually March 2nd, March 1st was the last Daddy's Right Here live show. March the 2nd was the last SoundSpot live show. Both of those are live shows, which you'll now just be finding on my Sabir Alim educational station on YouTube and Facebook, right? I won't be doing that show live on TikTok anymore. That platform doesn't meet the need. My Sabir Alim educational station that I see a few people have already tuned in. Please like and follow if you so desire. But my Sabir Alim educational station has been on YouTube since 2007. Yeah. So here we are, 2026. So that station has been going on for some time. I've been on Facebook for some years, but I decided with all the updates that, listen, if you do podcasts or you do any kind of what do you call it, creating kind of stuff, Facebook right now is the place to be. Yeah, I got a camera. I just changed over my phone. You got a camera now, Facebook, where you can just, if you're a content creator, you can just hit the button. You don't have to go to Facebook and all that stuff. There's just a camera. You just go right to the camera. Now, maybe I'm behind. I don't know. But I just switched phones and it's on my phone. And the clarity and the functionality of that camera, you can just hit spots without a flinch. You just go ahead right there, hit the camera, and it's on, and you're live. So I love that. But this platform on Facebook has a lot of features that I enjoy. I'm still trying to figure out how to get my audio from when I share my the other pages. I'm trying to get the audio set up. I can do that easily on StreamYard when I use that, but I haven't figured it out. So if anybody knows how to get the audio from the page that I'm on in this Facebook platform, please let me know, because I can certainly use the help in getting that together. So just hit me up, send me a message, and I'll get right on it. So over the past couple of weeks, we've been on because we're on 6 now. We've been going over this list of these 10 tips for emotional healing. So if you haven't been following me before, welcome. For those who previously been following me throughout the years, welcome back. I do a lot of things online. 30 years, substance abuse, serious and persistent mental illness, working in corrections, community-based corrections, inside the prisons. I've worked with the population of people who are just trying to find their way or find their way back. But then I have a nonprofit, Daddy's Right Here Incorporated, that seeks to decrease father absenteeism and offering classes. And pretty much the Sabir Alim educational station is the foundation of Daddy's Right Here Incorporated, because this is how services continue to happen. This service is free. What I do online, I can charge for. This service is free, right? So I really need for anyone who is on this live at my Sabir Alim educational station, please subscribe. Please just hit like and subscribe, or just hit subscribe if you don't like today. Maybe tomorrow you might like it better. But I just need for everybody to start the following and subscribe, because that ties into the service that we provided Daddy's Right here Incorporated. SoundSpot is a derivative of Daddy's Right Here Live. So, you know, it's a daily show almost, because it's Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. But it's typically an hour show. What I've decided to do is just to add some more things to it. You know, the music, because the music is part of me. It's part of who I am. That's what I do. I also advertise alimforyou.net, which is also what I do. So I do a lot of things, and I just wanted to bring it. I want to bring it all full circle, because when you start looking for funding, people want to know what it is that you do. You know, the funders, they want to, hey, okay, so how long? And, you know, so I have a proven track record of working in the field, as well as being on Sabir Alim educational station on YouTube. But I'm always working from a source, not just my experience as a clinician, not just my personal experience, not just experiences of others, my academia, but also from sources like Psychology Today. Psychology Today has been around forever. And this is one of the sources that I use when I do most of my shows. So, tips for emotional healing. Well, you got to look at, why do we even need emotional healing, right? So, to the article, we experience emotional distress in all sorts of ways, as sadness, anxiety, addictions, unproductive obsessions, unwanted compulsions, repetitive self-sabotaging behaviors, physical ailments, boredom, and various angry, bleak, and agitated moods. This is every day. The idea here is to decrease the frequency of those things happening. You want to decrease the frequency. Okay? This is life. You're going to always be confronted with challenges, especially when it comes to having to interact with other people, because you don't live in a damn bubble. You don't live in a bubble. And even if you did, at some point in time, those things that you see sitting in that bubble are going to be bothersome, annoying, troublesome, agitating, anger inducing. You understand? So you don't live in a bubble. That means everything that you encounter that you find to be dissatisfied, you have your own way of dealing with it. Sometimes dealing with it is avoiding it, acting like it doesn't exist, hoping that it goes away, right? Putting your faith in all the wrong places, because it's not going to go away until that person, that place, that thing changes. And the world is not here to appease you. Sorry. It's not your world. It's our world. It's our world. And if each one of us takes personal responsibility for those things that were mentioned here, these ailments, this boredom, and what you do with it, self-sabotaging behavior, compulsions, all these things that, we put upon ourselves, that for some reason we keep blaming everything and everybody for, until we resolve those things, we are not going to be going in the right direction. We're not. So instead of waiting for the next man, woman, to get their lives together, start with your own. Start with your own, because that's where it begins. So the first tip was be yourself, right? The second, invent yourself. The third, love and be loved. The fourth, get a grip on your mind. The fifth, which we did on Monday, forget the past. The sixth, which we're doing today, is flip the anxiety off. Before you can flip something off, I'm not saying flip somebody off. Before you can flip the anxiety off, you have to know that the anxiety is on. It just reminded me I need to take my anxiety medication. So one of the most difficult things to begin to understand about yourself is that none of us are going to make it through this life unscathed of mental health challenges. Period. You can convince yourself all day, not me. You can't. Many have done it. Many have found themselves hospitalized. Many of them have found themselves in positions of near death because of the level of stress and what they do in response to that anxiety. Substance misuse, abuse are very prevalent when it comes to not addressing mental health conditions in a more appropriate manner. I'm not telling you medication. There's other venues, modes, and theories and philosophies on how to deal with all those things, and medication is not the only way. It's a way. It's an option. It's quicker. It's more accessible in terms of being able to have an immediate response to those conditions. But it's not a place I recommend. Talk to your doctor first that you should stay. Medication is how do I say it? Medication does not cure. There are no cures out there. There will never be a cure out there when it comes to pharmaceuticals. They do not cure. They suppress. They're a Band-Aid on a bullet wound. That's all they are. And just remember the warnings. If you take this medication because you continue to have headaches, just know that there are side effects, heart palpitations, stomach cramps, dry mouth, ringing in the ears. And all you wanted to do was stop the headaches. Just remember that. And just remember that it did not heal whatever is causing the headaches. It only addressed the headache. And now you have other possibilities that could come as a result of taking the medication. I use herbs mostly. I'm trying to go strictly on herbs. But I don't play with the fact that I have anxiety and depression. I don't play with that. Right? For me, I have issues with the anxiety. Yeah. The anxiety. And it added to my challenges early on in life before I learned that you got anxiety. It's anxiety. You understand? So it's common. It's something many people have. And here it is in an article about tips for emotional healing to flip the anxiety switch off. So let's go to the article and see what else we can find out about this anxiety switch. Rampant anxiety ruins our equilibrium, colors our mood, and makes all the already hard task of living that much harder. There are many anxiety management strategies you might want to try. Scott finished saying that. Breathing techniques, cognitive techniques, relaxation techniques, and so on. But what will make all the difference is if you can locate that inner switch that controls your anxious nature, that controls your anxious nature, and deciding that you prefer to live more calmly. Flip it to the off position. With one gesture, you announce that you will no longer over dramatize, that you will no longer catastrophize, that you will no longer live a fearful life or create unnecessary anxiety for yourself. It's telling you right there, anxiety is natural. It's part of your nature. It's part of your fight or flight. I keep redirecting people to understanding one's own humanity is of the utmost importance before you start looking at all the titles that people have put upon you and those things that you have decided about who you are. Bypass all of that. Take all that off the table and understand that you are a human being first. So you must understand your creation. Anxiety is not something that's just limited to certain people, certain groups of people, certain ages of people. No. Anxiety is natural. It is part of our nature. It is part of our nature. We, as human beings, we have all these things that alert us to something that's not in alignment with what it is that we need. That's what, if you look at it, when you get ready to go speak before people, see, that's the first anxiety that people speak about, right? You're getting ready to go stand in front of a whole bunch of people and thank them for coming to your graduation, your birthday party, thanking them for celebrating something with you. You want to stand in front of them and you twiddle your thumbs and, you rub your leg and, you do things to distract from the anxiousness that you feel encountering the circumstance. You do all these different things. You start feeling the heart palpitation, right? You start feeling like you just want to find the exit and just run out the damn door. You want to pass the microphone to somebody else. You want to start assuming they understand, so why am I even telling them? I already said thank you. Isn't that enough? Why are you making me do this? So it elevates. See, the more you try to talk yourself out of it, the more you try to run from it, the higher the level of anxiety becomes, till you get to the point of having a panic attack. Yeah. You have a panic attack and don't realize you had a panic attack. You point to everything outside of you instead of looking at the fact that first you have to acknowledge that this exists. Because if you don't acknowledge that anxiety exists within all of us to some capacity, you're going to be in situations that are going to be very difficult to manage. Does that make sense? So acknowledge. The article just told you it's natural. Anxiety is a natural thing. Right? So let's understand what rampant anxiety means. So let's go look up the word rampant. See, I like to look stuff up because you'll say, well, that doesn't apply to me. See, this is how we rationalize and justify the most outrageous sort of nonsense instead of getting clarity on, is it possible that that applies to me? Because it may not be rampant but it may be festering. And as it continues to fester and it goes unresolved, right? Because this is what you have to look at. It goes unresolved. You keep self-medicating. You keep denying that it exists. Eventually, it becomes rampant. So let's see what rampant. Rampant, this is AI's defining. Rampant describes something often negative that is widespread, unchecked, or growing uncontrollably. Got that? My ears stopped up. Such as rampant inflation. You can understand that, right? Eggs, $6 a dozen. That's rampant. It's everybody's paying that, and then some, right? Or corruption. It's easy to understand, right? Corruption. We see it. You just got finished watching the news. You saw rampant corruption, right? It also refers to lush, overgrowing vegetation. You seen that? Where you get these vines that grow all over the place and you got to cut them off your fence. You got to cut them off the water spout. You got to cut them because they wrap all around the trees and change the whole look of everything. Or in heraldry, a beast rearing on its hind legs. It implies a lack of restraint or violent action. So the key aspects of rampant, uncontrolled spread, used to describe things that are out of control, such as diseases, rumors, or crime. So here, we're talking about rampant anxiety, ruining our equilibrium. So you have to begin to look at what stage your anxiety is within you. So stop lying to yourself. Stop telling yourself you're good. Stop telling yourself those kind of things. You're getting ready to go somewhere. And it is so overwhelming that you need a drink before you go. You need to do a line before you go, even though that just makes it worse. Right? Anything that hypes you is not a good fix for anxiety. Because now you have caused it to be panic mode. Now fear kicks in. Paranoia kicks in. Yeah. And that changes your whole response and your reaction to everything around you. Because now you're hyped. You're elevated. Yeah. You're afraid to go out. Without the elevating drugs, you're afraid to go out. So you smoke some weed, take a drink. You want to bring yourself down. This is what you're trying to do in the moment. You want to bring yourself down so you can go out. And the whole way you're driving, or you're the passenger. Driving is just worst. Everything is at a heightened level. And then you finally arrive to your destination. But the whole ride to the destination has you so out of whack. And this is what it's talking about in regards to equilibrium. You're just thrown completely off. You can't focus on anything. It colors our mood. Our mood is colored by the level of anxiety that we are at. So when it talked about it being rampant and how, our mood gets colored by it, it changes everything about you, man. Because when it's rampant, it's out of control. It's there all the time. Your episodes of mood shifts happens momentarily. Yeah. It's not something that only happens when you're exposed to this or exposed to that. It happens in your life all the time. And you keep telling yourself that it's not you, that it's outside of you. And it says it makes all the already hard task of living that much harder. So every time you get ready to go to work, you start going through this. It becomes almost a pattern. It becomes almost a, what do you call it when you, it's ritualistic. It's a ritual. You go to work on Monday, it's Saturday. And the later it gets in the day on Saturday, the more the anxiety begins to build, because you know tomorrow is Sunday, which is the day before going to work. You don't have to believe me, because there's things that happen consciously, subconsciously, and unconsciously. You can't even enjoy the game on Sunday because you know that game, your favorite team is playing. They come on at 1 o'clock, right? By the time 4 o'clock comes, 3 o'clock comes, it's getting closer to the game. The closer it gets to the end of the game, the more that anxiety begins to build up. Yeah. Your favorite team, they finished the game for the day. The next games you're going to watch, but they're not of the interest as when your team is playing. Because you remember now, you're excited about your team. So your anxiety jumped up another octave or two. That's why I talked about in the article, it's not always a negative thing. Mostly rampant is negative. But there's the things that happen in between there that are not rampant, just natural. So your body responds to anxiety. It's not, okay, well, this is negative, this is positive. Your body is not responding to that. And that's what happens in your mind. That's what happens in your mind. You get the same signal in the brain, anxiety. It's not sorting it out. You're doing that in your mind. You understand? This is what you're doing to yourself. But by the time Sunday night comes, you have to get up at 7 o'clock Monday morning to go to work. The later Sunday gets, the more anxiety kicks in. Monday morning, you are a mess. And you go and grab yourself a cup of coffee. I like a good Colombian coffee. I like espresso. Love it. Give me a triple shot of some espresso. I'm good. Gotta have it. But I don't. I've reduced immensely how much coffee I drink, especially in the morning. I'm already leveled up. I know too much coffee is going to do this. Now, it does this on the inside. Sometimes you don't see it, on the outside. But if you're not paying attention to it, you'll spend a lifetime always being elevated, always being. Now, I'm already an intense person, so I'm already here before coffee. Before coffee. Then when I get coffee, I am gone. Because I'm always multitasking. Phone, call, phone, messages, phone, email. And then when I get out the car, inside in the office, phone, somebody in front of me, email, all those things going. That's what I've been doing for most of my 30-year career. For most of my 30-year career, always at that level. So retirement has been a shift. When it talks about here meditation and all that good, wonderful Gucci stuff, I can tell you that I never made enough time for my living to do that. Did my best with it, but it requires consistency, something I never pursued. I do it for a little bit, that, then life changed, right? A baby came along, yeah, a baby at 61 years old, a baby, right? Got another wife, right? So life was always changing. A job that required me to drive a distance to get to, right? Because it wasn't feasible to move down that way or even close to down that way. It just wasn't feasible financially, right? So no blame, but I did what I had to do. But in the meantime, things that had preceded the good things, right? Like had me in a whole nother space because I was married, but she was living in another state. I was here. She was here. Then she left and so all of that just added to my already pre-existing condition of anxiety and depression. Depression never hit me. I was always too busy to keep. So I managed the depressive end because I was always doing stuff like I still do now. But it's important to understand what's happening with your life because you have to take it down a few notches or you're going to die. Really. You can still be alive walking around, but you will be plagued with so many other ailments as a result of not addressing what needs to be addressed within you so you can calm down. You can have the ability to relax. You can turn this switch off. See, when you're living and you just keep going and going and going and going and you take no time for yourself, you have to dig through so much to even find the switch. There's a lot of self-evaluations that have to take place for you to be getting to that switch. You know, it's like you're just swimming. It's like the sperm cell is trying through thousands of other people trying to get to the same place and trying to get in so they can be comfortable and settle in. Well, you're doing the same thing in life. You're chasing that bag and you're constantly going and you're navigating to all these people who seem to be in your way of where it is that you are destined to be. But they're like going to grandmother's house, Little Red Robin Hood, encountered things. And when she got to where she thought she wanted to be, which was her desired destination, she found that Granny wasn't there. That it was the wolf. Yeah. And then that was another challenge even after arriving to the destination, the desired destination. What you thought was going to be there ain't there. And that's how life is. And you layer that on to your condition and always going through life thinking, ain't going to happen, but I'm going to go ahead and do it anyway, right? But you go through all this anxiety because of the poor experience that you had before because Granny wasn't there when she got there. Just think what she went through when she got there and Granny wasn't there. She was traumatized by what she faced. We get traumatized by things that we work hard to get to. And then find that that's not what it is. And then it builds all over again because now we have to start another journey. But life is a journey. So you have to accept that. And a lot of our anxiety comes from what we think should be for us. But what about the next person that's thinking the same thing for themselves? So you got a million people thinking that this is for them, but only one gets selected. How do you feel about not getting selected? How do you stop putting yourself in a position of every time you don't get selected, you coming down on yourself? And even though you come down on yourself, you're still going to blame somebody else. Why? See, these are the things you begin to find out as you trying to get to the switch. I keep using this motion of swimming because that's what you ultimately are doing inside of yourself. You got to get to this switch. But you haven't even acknowledged that there's a switch. That life doesn't have to be like this. It's your choice. It's your choice. The article. There are many anxiety management strategies you might want to try. Breathing techniques. How's your breathing? How is your breathing? You know, sometimes I have what's called involuntarily holding my breath. It's involuntary. I can be sitting here talking to you and just, just hold my breath. It's just like that. But I just do it. I have very shallow breathing. So when I'm anesthetized, it's a concern because okay, is this dude still alive? Yeah, it is. It's nerve wracking because my breathing is just that shallow. I'm long winded. Pressured speech. So when I'm talking, I will talk to exhaustion. I will wording until exhaustion. So I've had to learn how to tempo talking. Yeah. Have to learn to breathe in and out while talking. Yeah. Same challenge with, when I'm doing my recording, right? I had to learn how to tempo my lyrics, the rhythm, right? I can't do a rhythm because that, I stay within 98, pushing it on 100 RPMs when I'm recording lyrics. That allows me to do any kind of run that I would like to do when I'm tempoed properly, because I can just get it out. I know how I talk. I know the tempo of my speech. So I've had to learn how to temper both my speech, because I know my anxiety exists. Nothing you can do about that. And anxiety is not fear. People keep saying that anxiety is not fear. Sometimes we're so aware and so in touch with things, and that we're so connected to things because they have emotional attachments. Let me help you. I enjoy what I do for a living. That's why I still do these shows even after retirement. But I've been a clinician for 30 years. So everything that I encounter is always a learning curve for me, because I'm always seeking to learn. I'm always doing some self-evaluation, some self-assessment when certain things happen, especially when it comes to interacting with others, and there's some negative air to it. And this has to happen in the moment, because I don't want it to go beyond where it is right now, because then that'll be the whole method of this dialogue. It'll hinge on that, because I'm a thinker. So I have to understand, because I can overthink things, or because I'm always observing, and I'm always thinking, I'm always analyzing, because that's what I've been conditioned to do. either from the street life or from business. I've always been conditioned to pay attention. So I'm always paying attention. I'm a fixer, right? If I see a conflict developing, I need to turn it in another direction. Why? Because it doesn't make me feel comfortable when it goes to the left. So I don't seek a win-lose objective when in conflict. I look for a win-win. No matter what, I want what I want. But what I don't want to do is to be harmful towards another person, even though you may think they deserve it. We have to, practice empathy to the highest level when in disagreement. Because this person stands by their values and beliefs just like you do. Just like you do. They're not doing anything wrong, but if you perceive it as them doing something wrong because they're standing by their values, by their beliefs, they're standing on something. You don't have to agree, but they're doing the same thing you're doing. So how do we make this a win-win situation? Because that's what it comes down to. We want to make this a win-win situation, not a win-lose. The old mindset of somebody has to lose is just wrong. Plain and simple, it's wrong. So breathing techniques is just one thing. There's an exercise that you can do by inhaling all the way in as far as you can. Just hold it as long as you can hold it and slowly blow it out your mouth. So you're inhaling through your nose. And you I think they said you do this 3 to 5 times, and the body's reaction to that exercise is like having hours of sleep. Yeah. You got to try it. Like I use the exercise when I'm driving. When I feel myself getting annoyed or irritated, and it doesn't have to be about the traffic. It can be anything. It can be I'm having a moment of anxiety just because it shows up. I'll do that exercise and it works. The anxiety goes, your breathing is better. It's like it just unclogs wherever that blockage is that's causing you to feel anxious. There's another exercise that I learned from a therapist, my therapist, about the tea light candles. You take a tea light candle and you sit it in its dish. And the room needs to be darkened, right? It's better in a completely dark room, but it needs to be darkened, right? And you light the candle and you sit and you look at the candle. You just stare at the candle as long as you possibly can. Just stare at the candle. Try not to blink. Try very hard not to blink, because what you're actually doing is you're internalizing the flicker. You're internalizing the light. Everything else around you is like you're now in tunnel vision and you're staring at this light. And you stare at it as long as you possibly can without blinking. The idea is to focus. That means that you're not thinking about anything else. So if you find yourself while doing this exercise constantly thinking, focus before you go to the next step. Just focus. Just sit there and look at it. And prevent yourself from blinking. Once you are able to achieve that, close your eyes and find the light. Yeah. It's a hell of an exercise. You close your eyes and you look for that light. And when you close your eyes, the candlelight will be like so far. It'll be like it's really, really far away. But you see it. The idea is to move that light. Yeah. In your head. Move it. You want to be able to move it to different places. Mainly from where it is. And you want to move it. You want to move it to the left. You want to move it to right. Right? Right. That's the idea. To move it from where it is. That exercise is equated to so many hours of rest because your brain, right, has just quieted down. Your mind has quieted down. The energy level in your brain has quieted down. Everything has just almost silenced because you're focusing on that one thing, controlling the light. And when you break away from that exercise, you'll feel so relieved. So what is that telling you? A lot of things we think is attributed to a physical action, an action outside of us. I think it's an action outside of us that we're getting tired from. You get tired from the brain always popping off signals, the mind always popping off thought, constantly. Sooner than one thought passes, here comes the other one. Here comes another signal from the brain. Here comes your anxiety again because you're thinking of something again. Something negative always seems to pop in. So wherever you were going positively, here comes the negative thought. Here comes the anxiety. Right? It's happening just like that. Faster. This is what's going on in your head right now. I'm talking, you're thinking about something else. You're thinking about what you want to say. You're thinking about disagreeing. You're processing it in your mind. Do you agree or not agree? You got all these things going on. Your phone just rang. A message just popped up on your screen. All day. Every day. Yeah. All day, every day. You have to stop. No matter how much sleep you get, it's not rest. It's sleep. You have to learn to quiet the mind. Another method was nonsense syllables. Saying things repeatedly, uttering, it's almost like, what is that? The Buddha, the Buddhist, right? The chant. So nonsense syllables, similar in nature, have no meaning. If you want to quiet the mind, people say, okay, well, I read the Bible, whatever your holy book is, and you know that. No, you don't want something that facilitates thought. If you start reading the Bible, anxiety increases because you start looking at the things that you're failing to do, the things you should be doing, the things, this, that, and the other. Nonsense syllables is something simple as means absolutely nothing. That's why they call it nonsense syllables. It sounds like nonsense. It sounds stupid. But it's a chant, something you do over and over and over again. There's no thoughts you can attach to that. Now, if you're like me, you turn it into a beat, right? But the idea here is for it not to make any sense. Your thought is on the rhythm. Your thought is on establishing the rhythm, right? That's what this is about. It's about establishing a rhythm that breaks the rhythm of self. It just stopped this. Because this is what you're doing all day long. All day long. Before you wake up. Yeah, before you wake up. So it's thought stopping techniques that you want to look for. The problem with meditation is people often do it wrong because it's like prayer. See, people are praying to something outside of themselves. So when you are praying to something outside of yourself, you're searching for it. Where is it? Where are you? I hope you hear me. You haven't answered me before. Am I doing this right? Am I asking for the right thing? All that's going on in your mind when you're praying, when you're meditating, much of the same. Prayer is something that you're searching for inside. You have the id, the ego, and the superego of self, according to Freud. Right? So what you're praying for is already in your power to change. It's already in your power to improve. Understand. Understand. Meditation is looking, is searching inside of self for the power to change that condition. You know you have the power. That's why you're searching for it. You feel it. You don't feel resolve when you're asking outside of yourself. And the reason why you don't find resolve outside of you because it's inside of you. It's inside of you. The conscious, the subconscious, the unconscious. Those function at the same time. When you're praying and asking for help, what is suppressing? The subconscious, the unconscious. The conscious can impede both of their abilities because of what you've been told about a thing. The subconscious is always fighting to wake up the unconscious. Denial is part of the subconscious because you know it's there. But you remain oblivious to it because that's the level of comfort that you want to experience. And your consciousness does that. I know it's there. I don't want to think about it. The subconscious keeps gnawing at you. The unconscious, we ain't dealing with that. Because you've convinced yourself consciously that it's going to hurt too much to go there again. Meditation begins to open doors. So people use different methods. We're talking about this as well. Some people use the peyote method. Some people use the mushroom method. There are a variety of ways to open doors within self. But it takes a skilled person to do that with. Don't just go get some stuff and let me chew this up and let me see myself. And, no, it's a therapeutic action. It's a therapeutic action. But when you find yourself so stuck in a place, in a space that you can't get out of, that it's rampant, another option. So it talks in here about options, techniques, methods. I'm a cognitive behavior specialist. I address your thoughts. What do you think about this particular thing that just happened? Because it's what you think about a thing that causes the reaction. And most of the time, you're blaming the person and not looking at the situation. The person should be looked at as well. But what you want to look at is what just happened. What just happened? And your beliefs about what just happened. And your thoughts about that person tie into what just happened. Because if the person, let's say for instance, you're black and they were white, what would you think about what just happened? If they were black and you're black, the focus is on what just happened. Now, if you see the white person's actions as being intentional, and you see the black person's intent as being unintentional, there's a problem. Because you may see me in a suit and shirt. I mean, a suit. I gotta say shirt and pants. A shirt and tie, pair of pants. And I commit the same act, dude, with the hoodie on and the shiesty, right? Committed the same act. What would be the outcome? So was it about race? Or was it about you picking and choosing when to act that way, as opposed to looking at the incident itself and say, well, wait a minute, that could have happened with anybody. But because it was this, it was because it was that. That's what you have to look at, the beliefs. But you should be looking at the beliefs about the event first, not the players, what just happened. Because you'll find that the event, the antecedent, the activating event wasn't even the problem. The problem was the embedded bias. The embedded bias had nothing to do with any of that. You weren't mad about what just happened. Hell, I got car insurance, and hell, I get another car, or I get the car fixed, right? But it wasn't even about that. It was about who. So you just expose your own biases. And until you address those biases, first of all, admit to the bias that exists, it's going to be difficult for you to move forward. So acknowledge the bias. Then you can start looking at the consequence of those biases. ABCs, the activating event, the beliefs about the event. You wrote it all down. What's the consequence of continuing to hold on to that belief? Well, we know with the racist bias, right? We know the outcome there. We've seen it for how long? There's nothing good going to come out of that. Nothing good going to come out of that. That's going to be the consequence. Nothing good is going to come out of that kind of mindset. Right? So you begin to look at all the consequences of your behaviors, of all your beliefs. And then you need to start doing work. So it's the same way with getting to the switch to turn that anxiety switch off. You have to accept things about yourself. There's things that you don't know about yourself because you don't care to assess yourself and evaluate your thinking. You don't care to do that. For what? It's not me, it's him, it's her. Relaxation techniques. People think they go on vacations and that's relaxing. So you left your home. You left Philly and went to Atlantic City for the day. Go to Atlantic City, sit on the beach, chill. It's not a whole bunch of beaches that people go to where you can actually relax. If you're on a cruise, you can't relax when you're sitting on the beach because it's other cruisers. You go to Atlantic City, it's the neighborhood. It's people who want to go on vacation. It's people who are just there for the weekend for business. They're all there. When do you relax? The boardwalk is right behind you. You're walking up and down the boardwalk. You're doing nothing but adding more and more stress to yourself. Relaxation is more to that. Relaxation is so much more. I enjoy fishing. I like deep sea fishing. There's nothing relaxing about deep sea fishing because the whole time, what are you trying to do? Catch a fish. You go to lakes, throw it in there, let it sit, wait for something to come by. I don't know about you, but that's not my twist. I want action. What does relaxation really look like? What does relaxation really entail? Anytime there's somebody else there, you have to include them in what it is you're seeking to do to relax. And regardless of what they intend to do, what they attempt to do, or what they do. Are you relaxed? Yes, it felt good. Yes, it was pleasurable. Did you relax? If you're sitting there with an erection, are you relaxed? Relaxation is just that. This is something that you have to look at. Stop telling yourself this is relaxation when you're not getting relaxation from it. You're not getting relaxation from it. For me, relaxation is sitting out there on my patio. I have a wildlife reserve out there, so it's all different kinds of birds, big birds, little birds. I got everything from blue heron to finch, hummingbirds, different types, different species of the monarch butterflies. I have frogs. I have turtles, water turtles out there. I think they're carp or some kind of fish in there. Sometimes I think it's snakeheads out there. That's what they look like, some snakehead as well. I can think of a whole bunch of things, but I just sit there sometimes and just watch them. I know who's missing. I notice anybody coming in. We got a lot of new hawks out there. There's another blue heron out there. So I think it's two females and a male. There's the two females are the white ones, and the male is the blue one. He's really big. I can see a whole lot of things. I keep a camera handy, so for me, that's relaxing. We have a couple of raccoons, and I pretty much have seen the babies, but I've seen of late less of the babies. I've been out and about on the road, and I've seen some on the side of the road. So I know when it's turtle breeding time because baby egg burying time more than anything, because I see the little holes that the turtle makes trying to find a spot because she needs to find that spot where the sun is on the earth to keep the incubating going with the eggs. So I do those things. I do a lot of videotaping, and I take it and I put my music to it and I post it. So I'm posting nature, and I'm also posting my music. So you need to find relaxation. You need to understand what relaxation looks like. Stop telling yourself it's one thing. Use the dictionary. Look it up. Look up relaxation. Stop saying a vacation is relaxation. For me, People, we go on vacation, man. It's the most stressful thing. We have to organize. We got to go eat this place. We got to go eat that place. You want to go over here and be here at a certain time. All you got all these things that you're planning. That's not relaxing. Everybody gets into the hotel room and it's all. That's not relaxation. Stop telling yourself that. You just gotten away from the other things, but you need to learn to do that relaxation stuff where you are, so you can settle into that place, to have a space where it's your war room, where you go in and you read your Bible and your prayer and all those kind of things. You have your relaxation space out on the patio. So to the left, I'm sitting there, and to the right is my gym. So it's different things that you do. Working out is not relaxation because you're fixated on condition. Find out what relaxation is. We talked about cognitive techniques, but it says here what will make all the difference if you can locate that inner switch that controls your anxious nature. So in acknowledging that there's a need to manage this natural area of self is really important. It's really important. That's why so many people are on some type of medication or taking some sort of herbs, because anxiety is natural. If you have anxiety, guaranteed depression is there. It's a cousin. Because anxiety unmanaged causes a drop in motivation, goal-directed thinking, because it almost immobilizes you, like they talked about here in the rampant anxiety. It almost immobilizes you, especially if you're always experiencing panic attacks. It's natural, people. It's mental health. When that goes unmanaged, you begin to experience other things. Unaddressed medical conditions turn into mental health conditions, psychiatric concerns, psychological concerns. Yeah. Yeah. And you think that that's not the case. And you keep going and keep going and keep going and keep going. Your mood has changed. You're highly agitated. You're extremely toxic. And don't even see it. But you just blame everybody else and make it look like, well, y'all just mad. Y'all just haters and this, that kind of other stuff. And not seeing that you have lost your way. Your equilibrium is off. And that's what it says here. Rampant anxiety ruins our equilibrium, colors our mood, and makes all the already hard task of living that much harder. Happiness is your responsibility, not somebody else's. It's not your wife's job. It's not your husband's job. It's not your children's job. It's not your job's job. None of those things are responsible for you to be happy but you. If you are walking around agitated all the time, frustrated, down on yourself, down on other people, that's not a natural condition. It may be a natural condition, an innate condition responding to. But anxiety is a signal inside to tell you something. And you have to manage it because it's not going anywhere. It's almost like an intuition. It's really what it is. Something has triggered you. It's triggering the power within you. It responds to something that just don't feel right. I should feel this way. Yeah. But I don't. Why am I feeling this? Why am I feeling What is it that I'm feeling? It's anxiety. It's natural. Anger is natural. Now, unmanaged anxiety turns into anger because you didn't listen to the first signal. The horn blew. You've been non-responsive to it. It keeps blowing. It's sitting on the horn. Now you're angry. Anger, a natural human response to something that isn't right. The anxiety has immobilized you. You're angry because you're not getting things done. You're angry because what you're internalizing seems to be always negative. Everything and everybody around you is getting on your nerves. Now you're angry. And it doesn't stop there. But when do you take a look at it? When do you say something is not right? You got to keep digging for that switch. I got to turn this anxiety off. But you have to do these things that are necessary for calming in order for you to be able to do that. With one gesture, you announce that you will no longer over dramatize. So dramatization and the catastrophizing that it talks about in this article are what we call cognitive distortions, thinking errors. You over dramatize things. You make things bigger than what they really are. You've turned an anthill into a bear cave. That's how big you made this thing that is so small. It's smaller or as small as an anthill. You made it so big that you've gone beyond a mountain. You have created a whole disastrous situation, and that's what it talks about here, right? You no longer will over dramatize. You will no longer catastrophize things. See, you took it from, like I said, an anthill to a bear cave. An anthill to a bear cave. So you'd have made it really big, over dramatize it. Now you catastrophize it by putting a bear in a cave. It'll never work. It'll always be like that. I don't know why I'm doing this again. Why y'all got me here? Why I allowed y'all to talk me into this again? It's not going to be the same. We're going to argue. We're going to fight. This is what you're telling yourself over and over again. It's catastrophic. It's not going to be fixed. I can't fix the relationship between me and the father of my children because he this and because he that. Or because she just doesn't this and because she just, nobody's looking at. Why are we that angry? Not at each other. But why are we that angry where we're not listening to the other person? Because I have to address my anger first. Why am I so angry with her? Why can't I let this go? Because then we'll start looking at our hopes, dreams, and aspirations and how we saw marriage in this capacity. We saw our relationship over here like this and like that. We looked at childbearing as being this very special time, and this level of attention should be given, and this should be done, and that should be done, and all of this wedded bliss and all these things, and it didn't turn out that way. And I'm mad as hell because now I'm stuck with this and I have to give this instead of giving that. And that's what I wanted to give instead of being thankful that I can give this. And whatever the other person gives is what they give. That's their capacity. You can love a person, but you can only love a person in your own capacity. I have to tell you how I need to be loved. And if you have a problem with that, well, it's going to be hell for you. Because all too often, we just want to love a person the way we want to love them and in our own capacity, instead of rising to the occasion and learning to love the other person the way they need to be loved. That's not fair to the other person. Because that means that you're not in this for the right reason. Because you just want to give the way you want to give. And if the other person doesn't accept that, then that's on them. Because I tried to love you, but every time I tried, well, but you didn't want to learn to love me the way I need to be loved. And there's a big difference. There's a big difference, man. What you call love is not what I call love. For a man, love begins with respect. Nothing else. Not gifts, not great sex, not money. For men, love begins with the showing of respect. You don't have it. You don't have any respect. Plain and simple. It also says that you will no longer live a fearful life or create unnecessary anxiety for yourself. And like I said, anxiety is not just about fear. Anxiety is natural. It's natural. Therefore, it's not always fear. There's things that transpire in your life that reside within your mind that cause the fear. Whether it's fear of getting married again, fear of, of wearing a particular outfit, fear. It's not the fear that you think. And a lot of people think that anxiety is based in just like fear. Like going over bridges, I will project. I'll see it. I hope that I don't have to go over that thing. Is what I used to tell myself. There's times when I have to go. And I tell myself, you're going to be okay. You're going to go over this. Focus on this and not that. Focus elsewhere. Keep your gaze downwards, because some bridges go up and it's like you see nothing but sky, and it's terrifying. It's terrifying. So you got to focus on something else. I sing. I don't care if I'm in the car with somebody. I tell everybody in the car, listen. I have anxiety when it comes to bridges. I need everybody to fall back. I don't need anybody to start giving suggestions, because you can't. Right? You can't. Sometimes I don't want to be touched. I'll tell my wife, just let me do this. Touching me is a distraction, but it doesn't change what's inside of me. Sometimes I need to fidget with something on the way. Sometimes I need to turn the radio up. Everything doesn't always work. It's a system of having tools, because deep breathing doesn't always help. Doesn't. At this point, you're trying to keep yourself from having a panic attack. I drive slower sometimes. Sometimes I'll drive faster. It depends on who's behind me, how many cars are behind me. I do better when there's nothing in front of me at times. At times, I do better when there is something in front of me, because I can focus on the back of that vehicle as opposed to everything else going on. I have to form the tunnel vision. You don't know. You don't know. I don't know. So if I'm riding with somebody, I'm telling them, yo, if I got the little one in the back seat, hey, I need you to be quiet for a minute, okay? He's got something going on right here. I just need you to calm down for a minute, okay? It's what I tell myself before getting there that's important. If I tell myself this is going to be terrible, I won't make it. If I got to drive 5 miles an hour, I do it. But then I find that if I'm driving 5 miles an hour, it's taking too long to get over that bridge. I have to accept that. And in Florida, it's a whole lot of bridges. But I know most of the routes to avoid, the long bridges. I'll do a bridge. Listen, and the funny thing about it is, like, I've done the bridge. What is that? The one over in the Carolinas and what is it? I've done bridges. I've done the Florida Keys Bridge back and forth. I've done the other bridge. I forget what it's called. Oh, Chesapeake Bay Bridge. I've done that bridge back and forth. But the ones that go up kill me. Like coming out of Baltimore, when you go to DC or Philly, that joint just goes straight up and then it goes left or right, and it just drives me nuts. I know I can get out of Baltimore a different side, but when you come out of there by the Baltimore baseball stadium, that joint, it just goes straight up. It goes to New York, it goes to DC, but it has that split. It goes up and splits and then goes around. Yeah. My inside scream. Yeah. Yeah. So you have to take a look at how your anxiety affects you. You have to work on that. But you got to find that off switch. You got to find the off switch. It is what it is. Listen, I told y'all before we went, I was going to play the song. For you. Because I'm in the process of getting ready to do the remake of that song. And the remake of the song is going to be a lot different. When I do remakes of songs, what I try to do is, if it was a fast tempo song, I slow it down. If it's a slow tempo song, I speed it up. And that was by suggestion of a producer who I take tips from everybody, man. Learn how to put stuff out there. So let me hear this. So B4. There it is. So, yeah. So listen to this song. This was released in 2022. This was my first album because I came onto the music set as an artist in 2021, and I did 2 songs in 21. That was Sewing Made Easy and Political. I wrote a 3rd song that didn't get produced until later. But B4 comes from the album Poetic Peace. I'm getting ready to do this remake, so I'm going to let you hear. Hold on. I still got this running back here. Hold the presses. All right. So now I'm going to let you hear some of B4. You're not going to hear the whole thing because I also want you to hear the new one's about to come.
Do a love song at all. But it's unavoidable, man. You know? As a human being, you come in contact with people every day, man. And some you connect with, some you reject. You know, your spirit just rejects your not just get away. It's like you run, Forrest, run. That kind of mindset, right? But you know, when you find somebody, man, you know, who you really vibing with, right? You know, that's the easy thing, especially if you got a caretaker kind of person. They just like lure all the problem children, you know? But anywho, so, you know, when you think about love is, man, you know, it's an action word, right? And you just have to learn not just how to love somebody when you want to love them, but you have to learn how to love somebody when they need to be loved. You have to protect me, baby. In this place, nuts, berries, and fruits, rivers of milk and honey, silky bouquets too. Paradoxical enlightenment, spirits running free, creations in pairs, just one made like me. A servant to the core, toiling hand and foot,
morning dew upon my Monday. He clings to me like sun. The three on a daily. All praises due. Balance and tranquility. He said she will bring to you.
The three of us together
Formulate the twine. A cord cannot be broken.
relies upon the divine. It's not the voice of reason that tore us from this place. An unconscionable
Intuition made us have the taste.
I'm not lost without you. With you, I'm away.
I want love no more.
Been married before.
Trying to pass the test, spreading seeds to broad mankind ain't just a mess.
At odds with one another, lost sight of our purpose. Spirits in disarray,
Spirits beneath the surface,
masquerading representatives. No fear of the one above. Traumatic indentations, scarring the ones we love. Ordained from conception to care for and protect. What he gave in her from him would help us live correct. With free will in our
So that's the one that was done in 2022, right? I did that in 2022. And this is the new beat for the remake.
the words they said.
Oh, you ain't go off yet. Hold on. All right. Yeah. So here's the new beat. In this place, nuts, berries, and fruits, rivers of milk and honey, the silk and brocade pursuit, paradoxical enlightenment, spirits running free, creations in pairs, just one made like me. Just one made like me, prostrating on a daily, all praises due, balance and tranquility, he said she will bring to you. The three of us together, formulate the twine, a cord cannot be broken, with the light upon the divine. It's not the voice of reason that tore us from this place. An unconscionable intuition made us have a taste. I'm not lost without you. With you, I went away. I want love no more. Been married before. Been married before. Been married before. Yeah, so this is for the remake. I kept playing with this beat, right, when I was developing it, and I was like, I was thinking of another song, because I'm writing another song. I'm always writing songs. And I said, oh, wait a minute. In this place, nuts, berries, and fruits, rivers of milk and honey, the silken bouquets to suit. Three of us together, formulate the twine. I want love no more. I want love no more. Been married before. Yeah, so this is probably the beat I'm gonna stay with. I hadn't finalized this beat, but now this is at 100 RPM. So a lot of times what happens is I'll put it on the higher RPM because I can control with the particular beat where it's going to go, but I leave myself room for the run. Because if I took this and dropped it down to 98, it would be, but because I did it at 100, I can slow it down where I want to, like it's still 98. And then I just throw a couple of beat kits, drum kits in there, and that's how I tempo it to it. So you know, and I said, yeah, I like that. So this is basically the tempo that I use for most of my music. Nickels and dimes in my pocket, sunk with 3 strikes. This game ain't social media, where you're looking for likes. Deals to be made, I'm a mover and shaker. To the occasion I rise, like yeast for a baker. Climbing the ladder with swiftness and ease. Spreading through the community, just like a damn disease. What I do in office, minimal messages sent to you, subliminal, taking what's not mine, criminal. The game I play, political. The game I play, political. Electronic devices, when in the crisis, mass propaganda seeks to divide us. Government control, media platforms, blatant disrespect, you know, it's making us conform to a land full of hate. Where's the Messiah? Just can't wait. In the meantime, by the black man, there's a line in the sand. In the meantime, by the black man, there's a line in the sand. There's a line in the sand. So yeah, so it's always, that's comfortable for me, right? That's comfortable for me. Now, when it's a song where I got some other runs I want to do, you know, 98 is preferred because then I can always take something in there, rim, snare, and just, or, and never change it. So it's like, you know, those are the things that I'm learning about. I guess that's music theory and understand the movement of sound. Yeah. But when I heard this for B4, yeah, it's like, in this place, nuts, berries, and fruits, rivers of milk and honey, silk and brocade to soothe, paradoxical enlightenment, spirits running free, creations in pairs, just one made like me. But I can, in my head, because I'm mostly 98 RPM, I can flow with it and still keep it 100. Listen, thank you all so much for tuning in. I'm your host as always, Sabir Alim. Join me every Monday, Wednesday and Friday for Soft Spot Live. Join me on Tuesdays and Thursdays for Alim for You Live. And that's on my Alim for You Facebook page, right? But you can find it. Just look for me. Sabir Alim. Daddy's Right Here Live is every Sunday at 10 o'clock on Facebook, my Sabir Alim page. Make sure y'all check me out. And don't forget to go to alimforyou.net. I got some new jackets up there. Windbreaker jackets. The season is changing. Don't we have the time springing forward? Yeah. We got windbreaker jackets. We got law enforcement jackets in our War Ready collection. Right? We didn't want to put War Ready on our law enforcement jackets, but we put It's the Law. Because there's a lot of law enforcement officials out there, man, who hey, I'm a cop. I love being a cop. I need something to show my colors, that blue line, right? So we have some of those. Got my first sweatshirt that we dropped for the law enforcement series. On it, it says, "It's the law. It's the law." Whatever way you want to interpret that, it's the law. We have sweatshirts that you won't find anywhere. We'll have sweatshirts that almost look like you can wear them to a casual dress event. Yes, you can wear shoes with these sweatshirts because they're designed like a regular shirt. Where else you going to find that? I'm not just talking about something that got a design in the front. I'm talking about an all-over print sweatshirt that doesn't have all crazy designs, that have some conservative design work on them. You won't find those anywhere. The idea of Alim for You is to give you stuff that you can't find anywhere, that you can only come to Alim for You to get them. alimforyou.net is where you want to be. Stay tuned for the advertisement. Let's get it. See y'all. Somebody sang. Somebody sang. Somebody sang. Rolling 20 deep, all eyes on you. When the hoorah comes, what you gonna do? I just love this beat, man. Woo! Childhood friends, now live in different hoods, trying to keep the peace. Y'all's homies up to no good. You try to recruit them, the crew says recruit them. He wants to shoot them, you execute him. Among the rejected, think you're protected. Mold in a nightmare, criminal informant. Alright, gotta go. Holla at you. Where you go off on this thing? How do you turn it off? Is it this way?